the show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on Dropping Gems with your girl, K-laine. Today, I have a fabulous guest. Today, I'm so excited to introduce my guest today. She's a close friend of mine. I love her. She's like the best because she is adventurous and she's funny and she's sweet. She's funny and she's sweet, and I love her to death. Her name is Damika Houston from Healing Minds Counseling. Hi, Damika. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? I'm so glad that you tuned in today. How are you? You doing good today?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you and kind of talk to your audience and stuff. So it's an exciting moment right now.
Yeah, you look good too, girl. You look good. I love that hair. I love me some curls, girl. You look good.
Thank you. It was big yesterday, so I had to make sure I bring it back in. I was in that big hair type of mode. I was like, that's too big for the screen today. So.
It looks good. It looks good because, girl, I'm all about self-care, taking care of myself, trying to help people take care of themselves, because right now, during the situation that we are in during the pandemic, it's kind of hard to be, keep your mind focused on what you got going on, to stay upbeat. It's becoming a little bit difficult. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you more about, self-care and mental health, and talk to us about Healing Minds. How did that start? Where did that come from?
Oh, man. Okay. Healing Mind has been a long process. Actually, I've always had a heart to help people and stuff like that, but I just never knew counseling would have been the thing that I was going to do at the end of the day. I actually wanted to be a nurse, to be honest. Originally a lawyer, then a nurse, but eventually I found that I was able to help people through conversations and giving them advice and kind of restructuring their lives and helping them kind of organize their thoughts. And I got into mental health. And then I want to say about 5 or 6 years back, I was talking to one of my good mentors, Miss Marie, and we were talking about programs for single moms, and because I'm a single mom and things I want to do with single moms and stuff like that. And one of the biggest focus is about how do we heal ourselves? Being a single mom, there's so much stigma behind it, and so many of these bad ideas and baggage that comes with that label of a single mom, and how do we kind of heal ourselves from the things that come with that, and the things that we've endured. And so I kind of wrap my mind about that, and that's kind of where that Healing Mind name came from. Is we have to heal our minds in order for us to grow and to develop. A lot of times people think that our body is more important, our physical health is more important, but we totally forget that if our mind isn't together and all the way healed, our body isn't going to function the way it's going to need to function. So everything is interconnected.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everything is interconnected. Our body and our mind is interconnected. And so my thing is we need to heal the mind first in order for us to heal our body to be a whole person.
Absolutely. Healing. Look, our body, you're right. Everything is connected, because I know if my body don't feel right, then my mind ain't right. If my mind ain't right and my body is not right, I can't go exercise. I can't work out. If I'm thinking about stuff, I'm stressed out, even though I want to exercise, it's not connecting. It's not
right.
connected.
Absolutely. It does not.
It's not.
Yeah.
And, recently, with social media now, depression has become more prevalent. Why do you think that's happening between children and even adults? You have seen a skyrocket in depression in adults since the whole social media trend has started?
I think it's interesting because we always say it's a skyrocket. I don't think it's necessarily a skyrocket. I think people are having that conversation now.
Okay, I see. Yeah, talking about it.
Yeah. So mental health, mental illness, all those things have been this negative idea, and no one really wants to talk about it. And so that, I think now you see everywhere we're talking about mental health, right? We're talking about it on the news and social media. Even celebrities are talking about their mental health and the things that they struggle with. And because now we're actually talking about it and people are actually saying, yeah, I am dealing with these things, alone by myself. And so that makes other people want to talk about it. And so now we get to really see the impact of mental health in our community and in our country and in the world. And so I don't think it necessarily is a huge increase. There is an increase, but I think people are starting to acknowledge it and talk about it more.
And that's absolute, that's good, because I know back when, not to age myself or date myself, but back when you didn't really hear about anxiety, you never really heard about depression, and even other mental illness, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. Like, you never really heard about those things, but as a kid, or as a young adult, you always knew something was wrong when the old school people was like, oh, don't worry about him, he just slow, or don't worry about them, they just all right, or go on back in your room, back over there, or and so it did create, as generations, it did create a stigma to talk about it. So it's good that it's coming out, that people are able to talk about it more and be able to seek help. What are some signs of mental illness? And let's just start off with children. Because we're in virtual learning, and I know that children, the depression I've even seen it personally myself, as far as some young kids that I know suffer with depression, suffer with anxiety. But so what are some of the signs that we can look for?
The signs are going to be different. And a lot of times we don't think that kids suffer with depression because of some of the behaviors. So you'll get a kid that is probably withdrawn, very isolative, very quiet, very, very to themselves, as a sign. But you also get that kid that's very hyperactive, that's very defiant now, that's very doing things that he more amped up energy than before. That actually is a sign of depression, in kids. A lot of times we think, oh, with depression, it's a very withdrawal behavior. It's not like that with children. With children, you see it in their behaviors more of defiance and breaking rules and being disrespectful, and or irritability, moody, up and down mood swings, right? Kids are happy one moment, sad the next, angry, violent, can't sleep, insomnia, right? Memory loss, can't remember things, forgetting to do homework, forgetting to do assignments, those types of things like that.
Oh, those, wow. So parents, be aware, be checking out your kids, talking to your kids, check your kids' phones and see what they're doing, or tablets or devices.
Absolutely, because absolutely, but because, like you said, social media. One of the things that I talked to people before is social media has a huge impact on children and their mental health. In this day and age, we talk about bullying and cyberbullying and stuff like that. They can't, and back in our day, right? Like, not to age ourselves, but back in our day, we didn't have social media, right? We didn't have social media. We didn't have Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that. So when we had a bully in school or something like that, we can walk away and it never impacted us. Whereas now they have all of these avenues that can follow a person, and it's there for life, and the bullying can persist even beyond the school doors, right? You can go home and you log in your Facebook, and now all of this stuff is coming up and people are talking about you, and you never get a break from it. So with children, especially middle school and high schoolers, it is really big to kind of check in on your children and check in how they're doing and check in on their social media. I know we want to give them some independency and some privacy, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we don't know that's going on in the background that our kids are dealing with.
And I noticed some parents struggle with that, with the decision of checking devices and checking on their social media. Because of that, they want to give their kids their privacy and their independency, and also parents struggle because they have a lot of things going on themselves, like they're working 2 jobs now, or they got to come home and cook dinner, so they don't even have that special time to even sit down and have a conversation with their children anymore, until it's the last minute. They're acting out in school, the teachers are calling, or they all of a sudden they want to stay over this friend's house that has been not even been a close friend, but just this new friend is what I want to call it. This new friend want to hang out, until it's too late. And that's some things that like I just want to urge parents to do too, is just check on your kids, even if it's good morning, hi, hug them, kiss them, let them know, hey, let me see your device. While you're scrolling through Instagram, that can be your time to check your kids' devices, because even though they could be doing anything, but it's a safety measure too, because anybody can be talking to your children, or even on those games that they play, like these. Oh my God, these videos.
And Minecraft and
yes,
all these games that everything is online. These things are live games. There is not this. It's not Nintendo, and you need the player next to you.
Right.
You're actually talking in a whole nother country. So yeah, absolutely, you need to be.
And you don't know if it's an adult. It could be an adult posing as a child, leading your child to do something that maybe click on a link or something that is so innocent to a child. Hey, check out my new Roblox, whatever they call it, city.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then actually it's a link to something else that hacks into the computer, that can tells a child's location, those different things. So I'm really big on checking. I check my cousin's devices. Like, even if they don't even want me to, I'd be like, let me see your phone. I need to make a phone call. Let me see your phone. What's your code? Let me in your phone. And I'll be in there nosy looking in and see what they doing, because it's dangerous. And like you said, it affects their mental health. It really does, because they have this thing where they just want to know, what are they saying about me? What are they saying about this thing? I gotta know what's going on. I gotta know what's going on. And I know you mentioned that you're a single mother, so how do you mitigate that? How do you mitigate that, that addiction to social media with your child? Like, how do you mitigate that?
Yeah, so everything is a discussion. So I've always, when I talk to parents, especially parents who are single moms with young ones, or even with teenagers, because I work with a lot of teenagers, it's all about conversation. At the end of the day, this is how much time I notice you're spending on it. This is how it's reflecting on your behavior. This is how we have a conversation about it, because although they're children, right, they are very smart and intelligent. They know what's going on. They know more than us sometimes. And so it's about, and sometimes it's hard for us parents to understand, it's about respect. At the end of the day, a child wants to feel like you respect them and trust them. At the same time, I am the authority, but we're having a conversation about this. One of the things with my daughter, because she's 12, is when she got I was like, no cell phone, no tablet, no nothing. Like my child most kids probably got their first phone probably at 9. My daughter wait, so she finally got like a real smartphone. Like, she got the new Samsung 20, and
wow.
We the Samsung house. I know everybody Apple and stuff, but we a Samsung house here. But but we had a conversation. And the conversation is, you can't lock your cell phone, and your cell phone can't be with you at nighttime. It has to be plugged into the living room. And I go through your cell phone periodically once a week. And periodically means you don't know. I'm just going to decide to go on there. And that's
right. It's not on Wednesdays at 2:00. No, right. It's whenever I decide.
Right. But that's a discussion and an agreement that we went through. Like, if you want your cell phone and you want to have your cell phone, this is what we're going to agree upon. And the reasons for it is because of your safety, not because I was being nosy, but I want to make sure that you're safe. There's things on there that you think is innocent, like you said before, that looks nice and seem innocent, but it's not so innocent. There's one time it was an app on there, and it looked like a little kid, and it was supposed to be like, you create a life or something like that. But it was a live, interactive, and it was like grown adults on there talking. I was like,
wow,
no,
see?
We're deleting this. This is a no. And if I see this on your phone again, then the phone goes away. Like, it's those discussions that you have, because we don't know. The older we get, even though we know there's stuff out there, the older we get, we're more disconnected from what's the news,
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And so
that's why I hang out with the little kids.
And so I know. Right. And So that's why we still have to have communication and understanding and go through it and ask those questions and do research ourselves as parents. What's the latest new app out there for kids, right? Now it's TikTok. TikTok was created. Now this whole thing going on. Before that was Snapchat. And then, all these things that have been created to engage pre-teens and adolescents and stuff like that. Those are the things that we have to be aware of. Because there's always a new app. There's always a new thing.
It always is evolution. Everything is growing, changing, being more targeted towards our kids too. And that's one thing that's kind of like, I want to do more research is why is everything targeted and marketed to kids first? Like TikTok and Snapchat was for kids first. Like it was just targeted towards children first, and then adults started getting on. But so that's a side little project that I got going on.
Gotcha.
Why everything is always targeted to children first. Why is
kids are the most impressionable and the most engaged in technology right now. Like, although millennials started, we started that,
right,
but
it was us first,
right. But as time goes on and technology progresses, the children are the ones that get it first. They're faster to learn it. You can get a 2-year-old a tablet. They learn how to work that tablet, that cell phone way before you do. You be like, how you do that?
Right. Right. You absolutely correct.
And so they target children. It's because they're going to be more willing to spend the time to engage in it and utilize it before adults are. Because we got jobs. We working.
Yeah, we got stuff to do. We have other things to take care of. We do. And so, during the pandemic and all this mess going on, being shut in, have to quarantine, how did you and your family, how did you guys stay sane? What are some of the self-care things that you utilize to make it through every day? Because it was rough sometimes, I know.
Absolutely. This has been very challenging for myself, not only just because we're in the pandemic, but my dad passed away in the middle of it. So I had to deal with working from home, my daughter going to school virtually, and my dad passing away. And so that was it was a lot. It was a lot. Thank you. So it was a big challenge on that. And I'm big in self-care. I have 3 hobbies that I've always kind of stayed on, and that's working out, that's cooking, and that is always taking my walks and going outside, being in nature. It is scientifically proven that being outside in fresh air, sunlight, helps you with your mental health, helps you de-stress, it helps you calm yourself. It's one of the best things you can do, especially for children, is to get them to get outside. So those are the 3 things that I stayed focused on during the pandemic. And then one of the other things is working on some of those internal skills that if I can't get outside, it's wintertime, it's cold, I can't go outside.
Right. I am not a winter person no more. I'm from Michigan. I've been in Michigan my whole life, but I've also been in other climates that I enjoy way better. And yes, I do not like the cold. No. Nope.
Right. And then the gym was shut down for a while, so I couldn't get to the gym. And I could only cook so much and then it becomes unhealthy because all I'm doing is eating, right?
Sitting down eating, not working it off. Yeah, because I know you can cook very well. Her food is good. Let me tell you about that. Her food is good.
Thank you. And so it was really tough for me because a lot of the things that I do, my big main skills that I do, was getting taken away from me. And so now I had to get back into some internal skills and some more natural ways of kind of centering myself. So I do mindfulness. I also do yoga, and I also get back into journaling. I love to journal. I've been doing I journal, I don't know, since I was a little girl. That's one of the things my grandma had me. She was like, girl, just write it down in your book. So I've always had a diary, but now we call it a journal as an adult. But
a journal, right, a diary. That's so funny that you say that because I remember having a diary. And then recently my mom was talking to me and she said, hey, look, I got your niece a diary. I said, wait, what? Wait. And it's like real paper and pencil. I was like, I don't know, she probably want to do it on a tablet or something, but that was so refreshing for me to see that, my mom is still thinking of things like that for her. And it's a written journal. It's written. It's not like electronic. So, you know, I don't know. I feel better when I write. I do. I have so many like books and journals all over the place. Like I really do feel so much better when I journal. That's kind of one of the things that I love to do, and I still do, and I've done it ever since I was a child too. So yes, that definitely helps.
Definitely, writing is really a good way to deal with mental health. It's because what we do when we're depressed or anxious is we have all these thoughts in our head, and they're just going and going and going. And a lot of times it's so much going on, it's no clarity. But once we write it down on paper, we can get it out of our head, and it's now a solid physical thing that we can see, and then we can kind of deal with it. Right. Sometimes we can't deal with things if it's just in our head. So writing it down allows us to kind of get it out, see it on paper, and kind of figure it out as well.
Because there's so much clutter, and it's so hard to decipher all the things that's running through your head constantly when you're depressed, because you also have real life issues to deal with on top of the depression. You got bills, you have, you know, maybe a spouse or children. You have to figure out how you're going to work, or if you're going to work, or if you lost your job, where you're going to find your next, you know, financial blessing or anything like that. So writing it down, yes, so that is absolutely right. You write it down, you can see it, you're like, okay, look, now I can talk about it. Now I can talk about it, it's there. Now it's time for me to seek help. So what are some of the things or places people can do to seek help for depression, any mental illnesses they may be experiencing during the pandemic and after?
Yeah, so right now, one of the things I think the pandemic actually helped is that they allow for more opportunities for people to seek help. Right now, you have teletherapy now, so you can now get counseling through your cell phone, and you know,
that's amazing.
All these opportunities that we didn't realize that we actually probably needed before the pandemic.
Absolutely.
So there are different avenues right now. A lot of resources are being invested into mental health since the pandemic and COVID has happened. Right now in the city of Grand Rapids, there is a group that is the mental health of counseling group for color, for Black and brown individuals. So it is a group with Hispanic, Native American, African American therapists, social workers, counselors, all in this group that's here locally. Like a lot of times it's like, we don't have that here. And it's like, it's like, well, we don't have that. But then it's not that we don't have it. People don't know how to access us. To go. People don't know how to find us. So Rebecca Span and a few other people created this group to help put all of us together. So there is this resource. So we have a public page that's on Facebook that people can access. And you know, there's opportunities where they do videos kind of like this, a podcast. They do different meetings and stuff like that. They talk about different opportunities that's in the community and stuff like that. And then we also, in our private group, do different trainings and opportunities for us to mingle and get to know one another, so we can collaborate within the community. So the situation allowed us to kind of develop more relationships among our Black and brown family and friends and coworkers and colleagues to create this collaboration within the Grand Rapids community. So there's a lot of ways to do that. You can always access like Psychology Today and look up local individuals, or I forgot what it's called. I think it's BPGR, which is a group that kind of is focused on Black business owners and individuals of color, and you kind of can get more resources that way.
And absolutely, and this is another reason why I had you on the show as well, is to get you out there, get you recognized, so they know where to reach out. That there's somebody that looks like them that can help them, and there's all these resources to help you. Like you're not alone. There's resources to help you. So just take the opportunity, and just like she mentioned, you can get help from your cell phone. You can be in a closet if you want to, and no one else can know. You can have your headphones on, and then you and a qualified professional can help you, you know, with depression or any mental illness, even if you just need to talk, a therapist, just counseling. They're there to help you. They're there to help you. And there's like also like self-soothing things that you can do. There's teas out there that I heard that was so great, and different products that can help you
Absolutely, listen.
relax your mind.
Yeah.
Damika, what are some of those things? What are some of these teas that I heard about?
Oh, well, yeah. So one of the things that I created in this pandemic, because when my dad passed away, you know, of course, when you grieve is shows signs like depression. We go through these stages of grief, right? And one of the stages of grief is depression, right? And
Right.
so and so when I went to the doctor, you know, you take out, and they do it everywhere, you know, they do a survey to make sure, you know, you're not depressed or suicidal and all that stuff.
Right.
You know, as a professional, I already know I'm going to score high because I'm going through a situation. And so one of the first things the doctor asked me is, do I want something? Do I want a pill?
Right. And I'm so against that. I am so against. I'm not gonna say I'm against it so much, but it's just not something that I would decide that when I had depression, when I was feeling experiencing depression, that was one thing that I decided against. I wanted to kind of turn to a holistic type of I don't want to call it, I'll say a holistic therapy, different things to, you know, natural things. That wasn't my first choice. Now, if I was all the way gone and I may needed it, I definitely would have tried it and see how, you know, how, if it made me better or see whatever. But for me, that wasn't my first choice. I always go with the holistic choice first for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm one of those professionals as well. I'm not one to, I don't deny that there are benefits in medication, but I'm also not the one to say medication is your first route. Medication isn't always your first route unless that is where you're at mentally. Like you're at a point where you cannot function in your day-to-day life. Okay, we're going to take the medication route. But if you can still function and you can still have the ability to be rational and kind of deal and develop new skills, I said, let's try that holistic route. And so one of those things is I'm very about, I want to do something holistic and natural before going into medication. And so one of the things I did is tea. I'm big into tea. I love tea. And herbal, natural, organic tea does wonders, not just mentally, but for your body as well. And
absolutely.
So one of the things that I started to do is blend different teas to help me deal with depression, to help me deal with my insomnia so I can sleep, because even without the things that was going on, work changed. We had a lot of changes going on, and adjusting to change, my mind and my body was just not together.
Yes, and that's what we needed to be together to function as a whole.
Absolutely. And so I started creating these teas, and then one of the things that I did is I have teenagers, and I don't like pushing medication on growing youth. Because one thing about it is they're still developing, their mind is still developing, and medication has a huge impact on the brain development and on the body. And so I would prefer them to do something more natural, holistic, and that has little to no side effects. People still can have some side effects with herbal teas because, you know, people are allergic to certain things and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's minimum side effects or to none, right? And so one of the things I like to introduce to them is, let's try more of a holistic approach. Let's talk about natural remedies that we can do, if that's okay with your parents, before trying medications. I'm not against medication. I just prefer, let's try a different approach, especially when it comes to youth.
Children, yeah. Younger
because
adults,
one of the things about medication, it has an impact on the mind. It has an impact on chemistry in the mind. And kids are still developing. A lot of times kids are misdiagnosed and all kinds of stuff, and then they're on these medications for years, and you don't know what could have happened or what they could have done differently, you know, for children. For example, ADHD is very, very misdiagnosed a lot of times. A lot of times we diagnose a kid with ADHD who may be suffering from depression or anxiety because of whatever's going on at home or whatever, but we automatically think ADHD.
Automatically.
Right. And then we put them on a medication and stuff like that. And the medication may work, but it don't always work. And then they do something stronger and stronger. And then now you got this 9-year-old that's on 12 different medications. And it's like, let's try something else.
Let's try something different. Let's actually dig deeper. Let's dive into what's the real issue with the child, because like you said, they might not even need that medicine. Maybe they just need to go outside more. They need more supervision or more interaction with their parents or their caregiver. Mm-hmm. They may need just to be sleep at night. Maybe they just not getting enough sleep at night because they're up too late playing the video game or whatever the case may be. And that's one of my things too with children and adolescents, is just I would want people to dive deeper than just the surface symptoms with ADHD. Like that for me, it's because I'm just gonna say I don't know about that. That's something on the side again that I'm gonna look into, and I'm gonna research a little bit more.
And for example, I speak from experience, so this is not something that I'm going based off because this is what research says and this is how I feel about medication. I'm going through experience. Like, my child was diagnosed with ADHD, and she had a very difficult adjusting to school. She was very young, but she was very smart, and so she was in a grade higher than probably where she should have been, cognitively, developmentally, where she was at. But she also struggled just in general with a lot of people. My daughter is a very one-on-one, hands-on type of individual. So we had to go medication route until we could implement the things she needed in school. So I had to do, and a lot of parents don't know, I had to research what will be the best for my child. So the school she was currently in, I took her out because they did not have the services that she needed. They did not have a full-time nurse. They did not have a full-time counselor. They did not have full-time help to manage her. And so of course, at the time, I'm still a professional, so I know a lot of things, but there are parents who don't know that you can do these things. So I put her in another school who had all those things, which is funny because it's a public school. She went from a charter school to a public school, and sometimes that's like that. Charter schools, sometimes, even though they're really great education-wise, sometimes they don't always have the resources that they need. And so I put her into a public school that had everything that she needed. And eventually, my daughter's not on medication anymore, and she's still a student. But it took time to get there and understand what is out there. I made sure she had a 504 plan, and the teachers knew that she needed extra time for tests, and that she needed to be closer to the teacher, and that she needed small groups, and she needed time to burn off energy. And so they started implementing Zumba and all this other stuff in school. And I'm like, make sure she's the first person to sign up for that.
Right.
Because she needs those things. And so it's about educating yourself. As a parent, we need to educate ourselves on what is out there, educate ourselves on our children. Who are our kids? What do they like? What do they don't like? What irritates them? What don't irritate them? What makes them smile? What makes them move? And then using what you know as a parent about your child, and then about how they learn, and implement that into the school system, implement that into the mental health services, implement that into that whole community type style of raising your children when it comes to being a holistic approach and a person-centered approach. And so I come from experience with my child being diagnosed and being on medication, and then to her being right now not on any medication, but she can tell you about coping skills. She can tell you about what she do to deal with her stress and anxiety, and she can do all that stuff. Although I am a therapist, I did not treat my child. You know what I did? I found another therapist for her.
Wow. Well, that's great. I mean, I can see why you didn't. It could be scary. It can be also, a strain on you because you are seeing your child in distress and you're trying to treat the child. So that was a great choice for you to move and say, hey, I know these signs. I know what to look for. I know my child. So, hey, can you help my child? Can you help her? And, so she can get off the medication and so she can have these skills. And I think that's amazing. And I think that more parents should reach out and learn these skills, because as parents, we don't even have these skills ourselves. Like, we don't have coping skills. We self-medicate alcohol, drugs, or whatever else may be out there. And, and we don't even know how to cope with just natural feelings, sickness, or even our emotions. We don't even know what box to put them in or not to put them in a box, or how to handle them. So like, I think that's great that you offer something like this for children.
I offer, so you brought up that parents don't know. So one of the things that I did that I actually got to complete over the pandemic is a workbook for parents. And it's called Parenting Beyond Our Minds. And really is focused on that exact same thing, because as parents, we don't realize, or we don't even think about before we become parents, all the stuff that we had to deal with, the trauma, the abuse, the neglect, and all of that stuff that we take with us. And then being a parent on top of that, and not having any coping skills, not having anything, and don't even know where we got the stuff from. So we cope based off how we learn from our environment. So we may be taking unhealthy coping skills, like anger management. We've seen people yell and throw things and break things and cuss, and that's how they manage their anger. So what do? You do the same thing with your children, and that's how they manage their anger. And because they're and so how do we get out of that cycle? How do we change those things? What are some skills that we can do? How do we develop a plan for us as parents to better manage ourselves so we can parent beyond where we're at?
And that's amazing. And to get this workbook, I need the information to get this workbook so we can get that out there for more parents to even take a look at it, to even engage, because I think that's great for parents to understand, or even get their own coping skills so they can replicate that, so their child can understand, and then build a better community, a healthier community is what I always say. We need a healthier community, and it starts with relearning, and relearning is hard. Relearning is hard because it's going to be things that you dig up from your past that you either didn't ever want to deal with, or didn't even know that was affecting you as an adult, and this is why you act the way you act, or this is why you do the things that you do. And it's hard, and we don't want to relearn. Some of us don't want to relearn, but that's something that we need. That's something that we need to be a better community and better parent.
Absolutely. It's one of those things. Is I always ask, how can I be a better parent? Like, I've grown up in a very unstable and toxic environment. My mom will let you know as well. Like, she did her best, which our parents did. They did their best to what they knew and their ability to do at the time, right? But that doesn't mean that it was healthy.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I myself had to learn through education and getting my master's also to implement the same exact things that I'm educating parents and kids to do, is how to heal, how to deal with the things, how to identify where it is coming from and what we currently do, and what can we do to not necessarily change it, but take it and move it and do something else different, right?
Yes.
Because it's hard to, like you said, unlearn something, and we can't take something out without replacing it.
Right.
So we have to. We know it's toxic and we know it's bad, but what can I do better in place of it?
In place of that, yes, that's the question. What can I do better in place of what I know is toxic or not working for me, or is not a good situation at all? Yes, that's amazing. I'm glad that you brought that up, because I know it's hard to unlearn some things. I had to unlearn a ton of things. So, but I also learned to replace them with healthier ideas, with healthier habits. And so that's great. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this book. I'm so excited about Healing Minds Counseling. Where can they find you at? If they're looking for help, or if they're looking for you, Healing Minds, or they're looking for tea, because she actually sells tea, you guys. She forgot to mention it, but
she's like, I'm gonna get you. Yes, I actually sell the tea. It is for sale. It's not just for my clients, but it's also for the general public. So if you do want to buy it, it is up for purchase. And you can find me. I have a website. It's called healingmindsgr.org. And then you can find me same way on Instagram, on Facebook. It's healingmindsgr. Soon, hopefully, I'll be more than just in GR. I'll be all over the United States, but currently that's where I'm at. That's where I'm based. hopefully, if you ever just want information and resources, definitely reach out to me. I don't mind helping you and finding the right therapist for you, because I may not be the therapist for you, but I bet you I can help you find somebody that would be best for you.
Absolutely. So, Damika, I just want to thank you so much for being a guest on the Dropping Gems with K-laine show. I enjoyed having you. We had phenomenal, rich conversation.
I love that. Thank you for inviting me once again. This was awesome.
So once again, y'all, don't forget to follow your girl K-laine on all social media outlets, like and subscribe. And guess what? I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.